Welcome back here to the Jared Cook Classic. I'm Marcus Burnett, joined by J.L. Hemingway. Starting lineups are being introduced right now, and we should be ready shortly to give you more Day 2 action here from the Tip-Off Classic. So stick with us here on SUVtv. We'll be back shortly. Back here to the SUVtv, the Buford Wolves starters being announced now. One of them, number 3, Trey Hansborough. Also number 4, Devin Neal. Number 5, Taylor Mills. Number 20, Keaton Gibson. And number 34, Kyron Galloway. Hemi is Buford versus Alpharetta. We were able to do a Buford webcast earlier on day 1. Actually, a come-from-behind win against Walton. Your thoughts as they get ready to take on the Raiders of Alpharetta today?
You're right, Marcus. That was a good win for Coach Whitehart and his Buford squad. Down double digits, even into the third quarter. But it was Trey Hansborough. But it was more than that. It was Taylor Mills and Keaton Gibson and really the whole crew that were able to cut back into that lead and secure that win down the stretch. They got a good-looking squad. We talked about, how they're, kind of rearranging their squad after losing DeMarcus Simons to Gainesville High School. But this is a squad that's going to be able to be very competitive all throughout this year.
As tip-off is underway, Alpharetta has it first, but after that Galloway rebound, Buford is going to come up with it, but they lose it out of bounds, so just shaking the cobwebs off. Bringing it up for Alpharetta is going to be number 5, Alex Jones Hemi. That's a player we're going to want to keep our eyes on as the game goes on. Jones, just a freshman, but a player that's going to do a lot for Coach Hunt over the course of his Alpharetta career.
Now, we say it all the time, when you see freshmen in these type of situations on this stage, it's not by accident. So we're definitely going to keep an eye on him for sure. Both teams coming out in man-to-man defense here. It was really the Buford Wolves, guard pressure the other night that really switched the tempo and the momentum of the game. So it'll be interesting to see if Coach Whitehart dials up that pressure man-to-man once again.
Trey Hansborough is going to earn a trip to the free throw line. And even though it took a come-from-behind win for Buford to get the victory on opening day, Trey Hansborough getting to the free throw line early was a sign that they had in that game, and I think the fact that he's already at the free throw line now, not even a full minute in, it bodes well. Good
point, Marcus. A kid like that, he had, I don't know the exact stat number, but he had 25, midway through the fourth quarter. You can tell, right away that they want to get the ball in his hands, let him kind of get in rhythm, and getting to the free throw line is a good way to get that early confidence.
Coach Whitehart, in talking to him before the game, he mentioned how, he's had players and leaders that lead by example. And while he'll take the example, he said what he was really looking for this squad is for a verbal leader to develop. And he thinks that can be Hansborough. So it'll be interesting to see that transition throughout the course of the season, also during this game.
Baseline out of bounds right here, and Buford goes to a 2-3 zone, and a nice job there by Alpharetta of staying with the play. Lots of movement. The first option, even the second option was taken away, and then eventually number 10 here, that's Afam Maduka, was able to slice into the lane and draw the foul.
So make it 2-1. Very early on, second free throw on the way.
Good looking stroke there by Maduka. And to just build on what you were talking about, Marcus, with the verbal leadership, you hear coaches all the time, talk about communication, being verbal out there on the floor. It's not often one of the things that you'll hear a lot of times, on SportsCenter or, on the highlights, but it's those small, seemingly unseen things that can make the difference between a winning team and a losing team.
Devil is in the details, not just a cliche. be something that really, really holds true. Buford has it. They'll kick it back out top. Three-pointer on the way. That's off the mark, but on the offensive glass there, that was Gibson. Won't stay down. Comes Baker the other way. Sorry, Jones the other way.
Jones is fast, isn't he, Marcus? You can see why he's out there on the court. He's one of those kids that we call a pace setter. He really gets that tempo, getting going, and I'm sure, Coach Frederick Hunt of Alpharetta really wants him to do that. And if you don't stop him, really quick in transition, you're going to be able to tell that he can get all the way to the cup to finish.
I think one of the things that really impressed me about Jones, I've seen him compete in some very high-level events against elite talent, whether it be the CP3 Rising Stars Camp there in middle school or some of the other events I've seen him be in. And a great litmus test was the Alpharetta versus Norcross scrimmage that opened up the year. A game in which Alpharetta lost, but a big silver lining for Coach Hunt's team was how Jones was able to handle that pressure from Norcross.
Big shot there from another freshman out here on the court, and that was Lamont Smith of Buford. Buford going with that dribble drive offense, and it was Hansborough that was able to set him up.
Yeah, Smith, like you mentioned, another freshman having an impact early. And talking with Coach Whitehart, he said a big part of that come from behind win, where players being able to answer the bell. First name out of his mouth was Lamont Smith. To be able to play with that kind of poise as a freshman, definitely a good sign for him here this season.
And if you remember, Hansborough went to the bench in that second half with some foul trouble. But right back the other direction is Jones, once again leading the transition break with the finish.
Jones makes it a 6-5 ball game. 1-point advantage for the Raiders of Alpharetta. Going to have a foul called on the floor. It's going to go against number 20, Roy Winston.
Some people might complain about the hand checking calls, early in the season, but quite frankly, Marcus, I like it. From a coaching standpoint, it's really hard to run your offense if the defense constantly has their hands on you right here. So I think by setting the precedent early that, to tell those defenders that, hey, get your hands off and let's play some clean basketball, I think it'll make for some more pretty basketball on down the line.
That's Buford able to get the steal there. Three-pointer on the way from Smith is off the mark. Rebound by Devontae Kaycock. And you've got a game with some decent talent when we haven't talked about Devontae Kaycock yet, Hemi.
Yeah, Kaycock, Division I signee, UNC. Oh goodness, I always mess this up. Is that
Wilmington?
Wilmington, excuse me. UNCW. That's right. I just sent a tweet out and I still forgot it. But Kaycock, quite possibly could be the best post player out here on the court right here. We've had
Kaycock number 12 in the black jersey, just for those that may not be familiar with him.
Yeah, number 12 there in black, and great rebounder, great frontline player, and he's going to be able to take his talents to UNCW and be a versatile defender. You'll be able to rebound, but at the same time be able to guard not only in the paint, but even out to the perimeter. You see a well-built guy there at 6'6", still developing some of those perimeter skills that you would like for him to get, but you see him down there in the lane. Excellent footwork, great spin and seal right there. That's really the strength of his game on the offensive end.
Tell you, man, all it takes is for you to talk about him on the webcast, and they instantly make a play that shows you know what you're talking about. Hansborough trying to make it happen. He's going to be fouled on the floor, and that's going to be a matchup we'll want to watch. Obviously, Hansborough does a good job scoring the ball, but Maduka has definitely shown up here with the mission of making it as hard as possible for him to do that.
Yeah, Maduka, a new name, at least for me here. You see him, good-looking athlete, good size. He's going to be able to defend, the perimeter pretty well. Now he's coming out here, I think, after picking up maybe a second foul here early on.
So into the game, number 21, Aaron Thomas. He's going to guard Hansborough, but for now, getting to go from outside, that's Will Springer.
Yeah, speaking of me talking about players and them doing good things, I put a tweet out about Will Springer earlier this afternoon, and as soon as he comes out here onto the court, he knocks down that jumper. But Brandon Clay wrote about Will in our recap on peachstatebasketball.com after day one. Good-looking size, from him. You can play a little bit inside, outside, but you see the touch from the perimeter.
Ball's loose. Raiders go back to get it. Wide open three-pointer. That one's off the mark. Another rebound there for Gibson of Buford. Hansborough bring it the other way, first quarter. Trey Hansborough. And one. Count the bucket and the foul to go.
Oh, they're going to, yes, indeed. It's going to be a three-point play. I think all the players thought that it was going to be a charge. Hansborough, very impressive here. You talk about a kid that can play either backcourt, position, either the shooting guard or the point guard. And that really shows his versatility, being able to score with the offhand versus contact. Not a lot of kids at the high school level that can be able to do that. Hansborough is one of them, though.
Great finish there. So he makes it an 11-8 ball game here in the first quarter. Stolen by Gibson. He'll get it to Springer. Hansborough, you see him real shifty there.
I love players that are able to change directions, but at the same time, change pace. Some guys can change directions, but it's all at one speed. Some guys can change speeds, but it's all in one line, and Hansborough's got that shiftiness that makes him a real tough cover, especially in the open court.
Yeah, and you really just see him taking it to the Alpharetta defense, and you can tell they're coming out here with the mindset of, let's not let him get going early, let's make him work for it, let's be physical. And they're doing that, but he's been very successful at turning that physicality into fouls and being able to get to the free throw line.
You're right. He's going to be a guy that's going to draw that second defender, especially with the ball in his hands. And anytime you draw two, that's going to make the game easier. Good job here by Buford on the defensive end. Now, this is the second possession in a row where they have created a deflection and ultimately a steal. That time, that was Will Springer. The previous possession was Keaton Gibson. And everybody likes to talk about, the Trey Hansboroughs of the world and their ability to score, and rightly so. But on the defensive end, it's got to be a five-man effort. And right now, Coach Whitehart's getting everybody to buy in and playing some pretty good defense and got themselves a 4-point lead here.
4-point advantage, about 3 minutes left to play as we see the dime dropped off by Hansborough. She'll get that over to Galloway. I guess we can call it a nickel since the point wasn't finished. Still a nice pass nonetheless. That's going to send number 34, again, Kyron Galloway, to the free throw line.
Well, the dribble drive offense has given, a lot of teams nationally some success because you move that post player off to the weak side block, and when the help comes, well, it leads to an easy dump off right there. And what you got to do if you're Coach Hunt, I'm sure he's going to be talking about it at halftime, is get to that cover down help side to make sure that you don't give up that dump off.
Jones has it up top. They currently trail by 5. Dangerous spot to pick up your dribble. And, we talked about the talented freshman in Jones, a little kind of showing his age there a little bit.
Well, perhaps, but even more than that, I think you got to give a lot of credit to Buford right there for amping up the defensive intensity. They got the ball pressure up and really prevented them from Jones from getting that entry pass. Nice looking pass there. Speaking of passes from Hansborough.
We're going to have a timeout. That's going to be taken there by Alpharetta. So good things going.
Nice looking pass
for
there.
Hansborough
Speaking
and
of passes from Hansborough.
So far. Get that last bucket. That's going to be done by Galloway off of the assist by Hansborough. So Hemi, we've seen him really be able to create by scoring the ball, getting to the free throw line, but we see him also distributing. Your thoughts on Hansborough's first quarter?
It's been as good of a first quarter as you could hope for if you're Coach Whitehart and the Buford Wolves. He's a guy that, you said it, he can score the ball with the ball in his hands, but he can also set up his teammates, when he does draw 2 defenders. He demands so much attention from the opposition that he's going to make the game very easy for those around him. And you're seeing that right now by Galloway getting to the free throw line and then also finishing that lay-in.
As it looks like we're ready to get the second quarter started. Alex Jones with it right now for Alpharetta. 7-point advantage for the Buford Wolves. We begin the second increment here. Maduka is going to drop it off. No good on the initial attempt. It was Gamble. But it's going to be tipped in. Believe that was Kaycock or Maduka on the tip in. Couldn't see exactly who should be credited for that one.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I don't think the official scorer knows either, but either way, good second chance opportunity. And once again, there's Hansborough once again.
Trey Hansborough really making it happen here for Buford. And, you talked about his ability to change directions, change his pace. And, I mean, for the sake of being redundant, you're really seeing him use that to kind of get to where he wants to on the floor when he wants to get there.
Alpharetta is going to have to make a concerted effort to close up the lane. They're going to have to find ways to either get the ball out of his hands or, kind of create a 3-man wall, with some other guard help. But speaking of guard penetration right here, a good drive there. I believe that was by Jones to dump it off to Kaycock.
Jones dropping it off, and as Jones gets more time under his belt here at the high school level, it's going to be a fun 1-2 to watch for Coach Hunt to be able to see Jones do a great job of penetrating. He's got a very good floater game as well, which draws a lot of attention, and I think Kaycock is going to reap the benefits of a lot of that activity.
Yeah, good point, Marcus. And the game of basketball centers so much around the point guard position. If you don't have a solid point guard, well, it's going to be hard for you night in, night out because, just simple things of getting into your offense, handling pressure, things like that. And we haven't even begun to talk about the play creating ability.
So again, Hansborough getting to the third level.
And talk about pick your poison right there because he gets right into that kill zone. And what has happened previously is that the defender has helped over and he's dumped it off. And so now that help defender is, stuck in no man's land. Do I go and help, and give up a dump off and a nice floater there by Kaycock, or do I stay at home and give him the floater? And so Hansborough's really got it going here in this first quarter.
I think this could be a very big night for him. As you talk about the hot hand, it's one of those things to where he's being aggressive. Obviously, he's been in the zone here early on. And I think Buford is just fine with running that offense through him. Milk the hot hand until it's cool.
Even though that ended in a travel, this is turning into a battle of point guards right here as Jones is doing an excellent job himself of, getting to the free throw line with the dribble, getting to the lane and dumping off himself.
Hansborough get it back. He's going to take it against Winston.
Goodness gracious.
And finish.
You got to tip your cap right here to Coach Whitehart. I mean, he realizes that Hansborough's got the hot hand and he's running every set right through him. I've got an appreciation for that.
And again, like you said, there goes Jones coming right back, doing what he does. And Coach Whitehart not happy about the fact that he's been able to continue to do what he's doing. But
yeah, I would not be surprised to see in the second quarter, maybe even in the second half, if a couple of these, or one of these two teams, if not both of the teams, go to a zone defense because the guard play is just so tough right now. And the one-on-one matchups out there, I'm not a big proponent of zone defenses myself, but shoot, when you're giving up so many middle drives like that, you got to do something to kind of mix it up.
As it's 14-21, 7-point advantage for Buford, 12.3 seconds left to play here in the first quarter. Hansborough again has it. It's go time. Get that out of here, says Gamble. Jones has a second to get it off. And so that is going to do it for the first quarter. We appreciate you joining us. We see Trey Hansborough doing what he was able to do all of the first quarter. He's a big reason why Buford currently leads by 7 points. Thanks for joining us here on SUVtv. When we get back, we'll bring you more action here from the Jared Cook Classic. Welcome back here to North Gwinnett High School, the Jared Cook Classic. It's benefiting the Susan G. Coleman for the Cure. Be sure to support not only the Jared Cook Classic, but also Coleman for the Cure and the general awareness and cause that it is here for. Also want to thank Crossover, the official analytics provider for the SUV. Get your game brain on, coaches, save time. Let Crossover break that film down for you. The Gwinnett Daily Post, our media partner for this event. You can catch live and on-demand webcast there. And last but not least, Gwinnett Prep Sports, which is the prep sports arm of GDP as well. So back to the action. Marcus Burnett joined by J.L. Hemingway. His second quarter action gets started.
Marcus, a good first quarter, plenty of action and a lot of scoring, especially from the guard play. It'll be interesting to see how this turns out here in the second quarter.
You can make the assumption either some adjustments will be made or some legendary games will be had with the pace that Hansborough is on for Buford. But again, for those of you that might just be joining us, number 5, Alex Jones, the freshman guard for Alpharetta, has done a great job trying to stir the drink, so to speak. We got a finish on the other end. Keaton Gibson, blue-collar guy here for Buford.
Yeah, Keaton Gibson's actually signed a national letter of intent to play baseball at Georgia Tech University, but a fine basketball player in his own right, and that's exactly what he can do. You see him there contesting the shot, rebounding, getting into the passing lanes, an essential cog to this Buford High School basketball team.
Hansborough had the offensive rebound temporarily. He loses it. But he's got reinforcements there in Sahil Patel. Patel fouled. He'll go to the free throw line.
You know, what a luxury Coach Whiteheart has to be able to bring Patel off the bench. A 6'7" kid, just a sophomore. Marcus, back in my coaching days, I went entire years without having a 6'7" kid on my roster.
Can often be the basketball equivalent of a lottery ticket, depending on where you coach at.
Right, and and Patel, plays a backup role and certainly a developmental player, but he's going to give Coach Whiteheart and Buford big minutes this year for sure.
Buford already, making progress and using the Jared Cook Classic to do so. With that come from behind win over the Walton Raiders. To open up day one. Good on the second free throw there is Patel. So not only a big fella, but a big fella that can go to the free throw line and knock him down. We're going to have 3 in the key. Going to go against Makai Henderson. So ball back over to Buford as they've got an 11-point advantage.
Yeah, Makai just getting into the game and kind of getting his feet wet. And unfortunately for him, he got caught too long in the lane.
Elbow jumper. Bank still open. 5:41.
Mills had a big game on Monday shooting the basketball. We haven't heard much from him up until this point, but he's off to the races now.
I think you also got to give players like Mills, as we see the easy layup drill. Coach Hunt cannot be happy with that, but you got to give players like Mills and Buford credit, because when Trey Hansborough started off hot, there wasn't any of that, let me get on board
Yeah.
also. Let me
Yeah.
get a shot up. They continue to run things through him, and now they've actually been able to reap the benefits of what he created, as you see the easy layup drill there for Mills.
Well, this is a very important moment in the game here for Alpharetta. It was 21-14 at the end of one. Now it's 29-14. They've gone on a 8-point run to begin the second quarter. Now down 15. They've got to figure something out. Kaycock's been on the bench with some foul trouble here, and he's really, you know, although Jones has been very good from the point position, you know, Kaycock is really what, you know, powers this team, you know, with the scoring and rebounding.
I want to also take a chance to recognize CBA Sports, the sports construction specialists. They are the official sports construction provider of the SUV, as well as CoachHemi.com, the official X's and O's provider of the SUV as well. You can be able to go there, and the number of sets and X's and O information for coaches is invaluable there on the CoachHemi.com site, so be sure to check that out.
Thank you, Marcus. Appreciate the shout out.
No problem. And you also be able to see our instant replay cam presented by CoachHemi.com throughout the game, as well as Mr. Hansborough has provided plenty of fodder for the cannon as far as that's concerned. But we're ready to go from the timeout. 15-point advantage for the Wolves of Buford. The Raiders trying to get things going. Winston tries to break it down, but he throws it off the shin of Hansborough. Hansborough doesn't take long to get it to Mills. Easy layup on the other end.
Can't say enough about the Buford defense right here. And I think more than anything else, you know, Hansborough has been very, very good, don't get me wrong. But when you look at now a 17-point lead, it's been the defense that's really powered this. The ball pressure, getting hands in the passing lanes, multiple deflections. Coach Whitehart has got his team playing very hard, very early in this ball game.
Definitely. You've seen a cluster of timeouts called by Alpharetta as Coach Hunt realizes this is a very pivotal point in the game. You know, the team's down, but you want to make it to where you can at least cut the deficit in half and make sure you stay within striking distance, and they're in jeopardy of that striking distance being eliminated as an option. We're resuming play. Gamble driving along the baseline, going to use the reverse. He'll get it to go.
Good looking drive there by the lefty, coming up the other side and finishing. They're going to need him to step up and score some buckets here, especially with Kaycock on the bench.
And Coach Hunt talked about that as we see the three splash from the corner. Taylor Mills. We see the trickle-down effect. He's doing his own thing in his own right, but Hansborough's hot start has really opened things up for Mills as he's just picking his spots now. Off the mark on the three-pointer there is Jones. Hansborough with the long rebound. Shifts it into another gear. He'll kick it out. Springer counting.
Coach Hunt right here really frustrated, but at the same time he understands the urgency of this matter here. But again, you see, you know, what Hansborough can do with the basketball in his hands. He gets to the lane. He draws two defenders, finds Will Springer for the three-point jumper.
All things rolling here for Buford. And, you know, Coach Hunt talked about, you know, Jalen Gamble and some of the different pieces for this squad. And he mentioned how for them to really be successful this season and to maximize their potential, you know about Kaycock, you know Jones' development is coming along, but he mentioned that Jalen Gamble will be a very important piece if they were to ever play at high potential. So we saw that reverse from him, which showed some signs of life. They're going to definitely need that to be able to help Jones and Kaycock in what they're trying to do to overcome this deficit.
Yeah, and he's got the potential to be a nice inside-out presence. He's had to guard, you know, the low block, you know, a lot, and unfortunately he's been one of those defenders that has been, you know, stuck in no man's land, you know, with Hansborough driving down the lane. But I think the offensive production is going to be key here if they're going to want to cut this lead down to single digits before the second half begins.
Jones kicks it over to Gamble. Gamble going to take a pretty deep two-pointer there. Long rebound to Patel. Hansborough going to try a three-pointer this time. It's off the mark. And last thing you want to do, Buford's already been clicking on all cylinders, giving them offensive rebounds and more opportunities to score. Not a good thing.
Yeah, second chance opportunities will kill you every time for sure.
Alpharetta looking a little lost on offense there, possession, but they found Gamble, and he found a bucket with a chance for a three-point play.
Now we're starting to see what Gamble can do, you know, facing the basket. Nice little hesitation move. The lefty really likes going to the left hand and does a nice job of getting a three-point opportunity here.
Cans the free throw. So the deficit now 20 for Alpharetta. Hansborough guarded by Jones. Going to be called for the push-off. That was nothing. That call was made simply because of that arm extended by Hansborough. You know, you didn't really see Jones, you know, give you the occasional flop that guys will do in that position.
And the hand checking goes both ways for that matter, you know. You got to keep the defensive hands off, and, you know, offensively you can't get an advantage that way. But this guy, Jones, is certainly gaining an advantage himself with the ball.
The freshman makes it an 18-point game. Hansborough decides to take it in. He's met by Gamble. We're going to say Gamble went straight up. No foul called on that play. Here come the Raiders. No call on there, and able to score through the contact is Gamble.
Here's Gamble turning it up a little bit. And now Buford has got a couple of bad things, you know, happen to him consecutively. The offensive foul and now the palming call could open the door a little bit here for Alpharetta to get back in this game.
Hansborough is going to have a seat. 3 minutes left to play here in this second quarter. Jones with it out top for the Raiders as they only trail by 16. The hesitation for a second. Looked like Patel got a piece of it. Nice defense. Going to send it back over to Alpharetta. I'm sorry, to Buford. Again, a good drive by Jones. If it wasn't for Patel getting a fingernail on it, potentially have another score there inside.
And we talked about it on night one. The advantage of having length in the lane, the so-called rim protectors are so big. That's why you want those guys down in the lane.
We're seeing Gamble really step it up over the past couple of minutes. Started with that reverse layup.
Indeed. You know, it's almost as if you know, Coach Hunt, you know, looked at him and said, "Hey, Devontae's on the bench. We need you to step up right here." You know, Gamble is a senior himself, and so if there's no better time to step up than, you know, right here, right now, so to speak.
He's at the free throw line with a chance to bring Alpharetta to within 15 points. He can make good on this free throw. Bounces around, won't stay down for him. Here's Mills, has it stripped away. Now it's in the hands of Gamble. The finish there, that's number 40. We'll have to touch base with the scorekeeper there at halftime. Don't have a 40 listed here on the roster. But his layup makes it a 14-point game. Mills kicks out to Smith. Smith with the swing to Springer. We have a foul there. It's going to go against Gamble.
Alpharetta doing a good job in transition. When they get the opportunity to push it ahead, that's what you're seeing, and a good finish by number 40. As you mentioned just a moment ago, 2 minutes left in this first half, Marcus, and if you're Coach Hunt, you know, you need to be figuring out ways, to motivate your guys, talk to your guys to say, hey, look, we're down 15, 16 right here. Let's try to get this to a 10-point game going into the locker room.
It's 25-41 after that trip to the free throw line. Trey Hansborough, number 3 in the white jersey there for Buford. He's checked back into the game. Nice cut right there by Gamble. Pass a little bit too behind him.
Well, you see what's happening here is Buford is working so hard to deny that ball reversal at the top of the key. Alpharetta tried to go back door, but it was deflected, and then Alpharetta was the last one to touch it. So again, you see what pressure defense will end up doing for you. Even if you don't get the steal, immediately, good things can happen.
Good shot there for Buford. Wouldn't fall, but Springer, persistence paying off there on that possession.
Another second chance opportunity there for Buford.
Jones going to try the step back jumper. Jones, a lot of people that evaluate, what he's able to do. The jumper is not always a phase of Jones's game that you see a lot, but you can't misconstrue that as him not being a good shooter, as he just showed there on that last possession.
Well, kids develop, at different rates with their parts of the game, and while, one area may not be fully developed, like you say, you can't necessarily mark it down as a weakness. Certainly right now he's been able to get out onto the court, because of his ball handling, his speed, quickness, distribution, all of that. And I'm sure in years to come we'll see that jumper become more consistent.
I think it's similar to a Taya Cooper type scenario on the girls basketball side, to where, if you're playing against him, your lesser of two evils is the jump shot.
Sure.
Not a knock to it, but that's what you'd rather him do with his ability to penetrate. But it's an area where he'll continue to improve, as we've seen Cooper do. We have a traveling violation. It's going to send it back over to Alpharetta with 51 seconds left to play here in the first half. So Devontae Kaycock sitting for a good portion of this second quarter for Alpharetta.
Alpharetta turning the basketball over right here. They had gotten some good possessions in a row, and now the past couple kind of uneven, throwing the ball out of bounds. That's not going to help cut into this lead for sure.
Nice ball movement right here by Buford. Patel trying to get it done. Nice defense there by Gamble without fouling. We're approaching the 22nd mark here in the second quarter. And another turnover for Alpharetta. So they've been able to keep the lead for Buford from really expanding, deep into the 20s. If you look at the turnovers they've experienced over the past few possessions, it could be the difference between a 17-point game and a more manageable, 10, 12 points.
Yeah, very good point. 3 possessions in a row, they've come down and turned it over, under the 1 minute mark at that. When Coach Hunt and his staff goes back and breaks down this game, I'm sure they're going to point to this one area where they had built some momentum, heading into the last 2 minutes, and then, really the last minute of this half has been kind of a disappointment, unfortunately, for them.
Hansborough off the mark on the free throw. Exactly 4 seconds left on the clock here in the second quarter. Hansborough's second free throw is good to go. So 46-28. Good if it goes.
Well, it went. Unfortunately, it just got stuck.
So that's going to send us into the half. Score anything but stuck. It's 46-28 as we go into halftime here at the Jared Cook Classic. We appreciate you watching. I'm Marcus Burnett. He's J.L. Hemingway. We'll catch you back here after halftime.
Not sure either. I don't think the official scorer knows either, but either way, good second chance opportunity. And once again, there's
Crossover intelligence for basketball can save you hours of time. We break down and stat your game film for you and act as your video coordinator by giving you searchable clips, advanced statistics, shot charts, and a lot of other great info that you can access from any PC or through our iPad application. Just upload your video through the Crossover website, and 24 hours later, your film will be completely indexed and tagged. Each play will become its own video clip, allowing you to search the footage for anything you'd like. Here we'll take a look at all 3-pointers that were made in the fourth quarter. All of your offensive and defensive sets can also be tagged, so you can view the appropriate clips and determine which plays are achieving the best results. You can add any clip to a playlist or highlight reel and share everything with your players or assistant coaches. Crossover will also provide you with all of the numbers from each game, including complete player stats for both teams and advanced metrics like these. We even take the shooting numbers a step further with an interactive shot chart that lets you visualize the data. Filter by player, quarter, makes or misses, and click on any shot to watch the corresponding video. Crossover intelligence will keep you from spending hours in the film room and get you back to actually coaching. Together, we can turn smarter video into more wins for your team. That's the crossover effect. Crossover intelligence for basketball can save you hours of time. We break down and stat your game film for you and act as your video coordinator by giving you searchable clips, advanced statistics, shot charts, and a lot of other great info that you can access from any PC or through our iPad application. Just upload your video through the Crossover website, and 24 hours later, your film will be completely indexed and tagged. Each play will become its own video clip, allowing you to search the footage for anything you'd like. Here we'll take a look at all 3-pointers that were made in the fourth quarter. All of your offensive and defensive sets can also be tagged, so you can view the appropriate clips and determine which plays are achieving the best results. You can add any clip to a playlist or highlight reel and share everything with your players or assistant coaches. Crossover will also provide you with all of the numbers from each game, including complete player stats for both teams and advanced metrics like these. We even take the shooting numbers a step further with an interactive shot chart that lets you visualize the data. Filter by player, quarter, makes or misses, and click on any shot to watch the corresponding video. Crossover intelligence will keep you from spending hours in the film room and get you back to actually coaching. Together, we can turn smarter video into more wins for your team. That's the crossover effect. Crossover intelligence for basketball can save you hours of time. We break down and stat your game film for you and act as your video coordinator by giving you searchable clips, advanced statistics, shot charts, and a lot of other great info that you can access from any PC or through our iPad application. Just upload your video through the Crossover website, and 24 hours later, your film will be completely indexed and tagged. Each play will become its own video clip, allowing you to search the footage for anything you'd like. Here we'll take a look at all 3-pointers that were made in the fourth quarter. All of your offensive and defensive sets can also be tagged, so you can view the appropriate clips and determine which plays are achieving the best results. You can add any clip to a playlist or highlight reel and share everything with your players or assistant coaches. Crossover will also provide you with all of the numbers from each game, including complete player stats for both teams and advanced metrics like these. We even take the shooting numbers a step further with an interactive shot chart that lets you visualize the data. Filter by player, quarter, makes or misses, and click on any shot to watch the corresponding video. Crossover intelligence will keep you from spending hours in the film room and get you back to actually coaching. Together, we can turn smarter video into more wins for your team. That's the crossover effect.
And welcome back here to North Gwinnett High School as we are ready to jump into the second half here at the Jared Cook Classic. Want to definitely recognize some of the sponsors that have made the event and broadcast possible. Crossover. Coaches, you can let Crossover do a lot of the work for you as far as stats and game breakdown. Gwinnett Daily Post. GwinnettPrepSports.com. And last but not least, CBA Sports, the official sports construction specialist of the SUV. Hemi, second half underway. What do you see as the keys to the game as it stands for both Buford to hold on as well as for Alpharetta to try to climb back in and get it?
Well, it starts right there with dribble penetration by Buford. That's really what set it all up for them. You know, guys, as you see Mills getting to the lane, and he's going to get the shoot too. He just finished that just a moment ago. But him and Hansborough both have been very good in the backcourt at attacking the lane. But, you know, it's been a very well-balanced attack on both sides of the court for Buford. Not only has their offense, you know, been very productive and efficient, but defensively have really got up into the guards of Alpharetta. They've made it very tough for them to get into their offense and to reverse the basketball. So overall, when you look at this lead here, it's been on both ends of the court for sure, Marcus.
Pair of free throws split there. Here's Jones getting it to Gamble. Gamble has that one knocked out of bounds, and number 12, Devontae Kaycock for Alpharetta, there in the black jersey. He had 3 fouls in the first half, so really it's more of a spectator there in the first half than I'm sure he'd like to be. So we'll see what he can do here in the second.
Oh, just in and out, and I thought Kaycock was going to have that tip dunk there, and it just rolled around a little too long. And I think I would be remiss if I did not mention the very fact of the reason why Alpharetta, you know, is suffering from such a large deficit is the fact that, you know, their primary scorer, their leader, you know, Devontae Kaycock has been on the bench for, you know, most of the second quarter. You know, when he's not out there, it makes life very tough for the rest of the Alpharetta Raiders.
You see Gamble with the rebound there, but that's a great point. Even when they did get things going between Gamble and Jones, you factor in Kaycock into that mix, and like you said, it's just a much better outcome for Coach Hunt's team. They get it in, a little bit of give and go action there. Gamble able to get it to go.
Great action right there, and Kaycock showing his versatility as a post player. Being able to pass out of the post, that's something that a lot of big men are not very skilled at doing. He's showing that he can very much.
As Alex Jones going to get called for another foul, he was able to get an offensive foul called against Hansborough there in the first half. Since then, we've seen him really, use his feet to try to beat Hansborough to the spot. Unfortunately for him, the calls are both going Hansborough's way. But still good moxie by the freshman just to step in and really kind of take on the charge of trying to slow down their most potent offensive player so far. Alpharetta getting a little bit more movement on the offensive glass than we saw in the first half here.
Now, Marcus, this is in very stark contrast to what we saw in the second quarter. You know, Devontae Kaycock really brings a new life and a new energy to this squad, and you can see why it's so important for him to be out there. If he can play without fouling in this second half, they're going to be able to make this a game, because they're going to control the defensive glass, prevent Buford from getting second chance opportunities, but more importantly, they're going to get more second chance opportunities themselves.
Kaycock good on the first free throw. Second one off the mark, but they get an offensive rebound. Gamble's going to lose that one out of bounds, so it will go back to Buford. Hansborough will inbound.
A little full court pressure here. It looks like a little 1-2-2 full court pressure, and they're putting Gamble at the front of it. And you see why. He's so disruptive with those long arms.
as the gamble pays off. They pulled it within 14 points. Mills gets rid of it to Springer. Gibson going to get called for the offensive foul. Stepping in and taking the charge there is number 21, Aaron Thomas.
And you see the energy coming back for Alpharetta. You know, the game of basketball is so much about momentum, you know, and the unseen things right here. But Devontae Kaycock coming back into the game is really energized this squad for sure.
Jones turns the corner. Off the mark on that shot. But possession remains with Alpharetta. Jones set to inbound. And 5-second violation.
Good defense there by Buford. It's almost like a matchup zone. You know what they're doing. They are playing a zone, so to speak, but they're getting out and defending the passing lanes. Turnover here by Buford.
It's cashed in. Alpharetta getting things going. They've cranked that defense up, and they pulled it within 10. Coach Whiteheart is not happy. Meanwhile, the Raiders able to see their first sign of momentum here in this ball game.
Well, good adjustment there by Coach Hunt coming out of the halftime, and you've got to use the full court pressure selectively. There are only a handful of teams that can really, in a high school game, press for 32 minutes straight. You're not going to see it at a very high level too often. But when you do use it, you've got to use it selectively, and you've got to make sure that you capitalize as much as you can when you do it. And here we've seen probably a half dozen possessions, and they forced, I think, at least 4 turnovers off of that, Marcus.
As they pulled to within 10 points. So, you know, I got to be honest. You know, obviously we have no fighter in the ring per se, but you definitely want to see a competitive game.
Yeah.
I think that makes both teams better. So for Alpharetta to be able to climb back into this, now we get a chance to see how Buford will be able to respond.
Without a doubt. And they've got the ball handlers to be able to do it. They're just going to have to make some adjustments. And usually, you know, once they kind of get settled into their press offense, they should be able to score a couple of easy ones.
This game transitioned from what looked like it was just going to end up being a stat game for Taylor Mills and Trey Hansborough, and it's turned into a dogfight. They've clawed back and got to within 10. Kaycock gets the steal. He's got Jones on the right side, but it looks like he wants to take it himself. He nearly lost it. Jones got it. As you can tell, Alpharetta really trying to continue to strike while the iron is hot. Gamble gets it and finishes. And the deficit has been cut to single digits by the Raiders.
Yeah, you can really see that the tempo has really changed here. Alpharetta making the second chance opportunities, and hey, even if you don't make a play on the first chance, you run it down, you try to get a deflection or something like that, and Buford made the classic mistake, you know, previous possession, and once they broke the pressure to try to make a play. And
Patel.
Let's see who this foul is going to be on. It's going to be on 11. Gamble and not Kaycock. That would have been a devastating foul if it would have been on Devontae Kaycock for Alpharetta, that is. But keys for beating pressure, Marcus, you know, you've got to handle it. You've got to take advantage, you know, of the 3-on-2, 2-on-1 situations when you get there. But if you don't have one of those, then you got to pull it back out, and then you got to get into your offense like you saw in that previous possession. The possession before that, they were out of sorts. Springer tried to, you know, force it into the post, which then immediately led to the quick transition the other direction.
Patel makes good on both of those free throws. A big fella with a good stroke from the free throw line. He's knocked down all 4 of the charity stripe opportunities he's had so far in this game. Makes the advantage a double-digit one again for North Gwinnett. Winston has it. That pass intended there for Maduka.
Oh, boy.
Hansborough coast to
Marcus.
coast.
Marcus, did you see how he set him up right there with a little hesitation? Oh, that was nice.
We're seeing more of the first half Hansborough that we saw. First half in which he had 14 points. This Alpharetta defense has really kept Buford at bay.
And I like that foul right there by Gibson. You know, even though it's on him and it goes against Buford, you know as well as I do, Marcus, that when that tussling gets to going, they're going to call one on the defense, and then eventually it's going to be an offensive foul. And when that happens, it's going to be his fourth, and it's going to be unfortunate. But Gibson's one of those type of guys that can kind of get under your skin, and right on cue, there's his fourth.
It's going to be a fourth foul. It's going to go against Devontae Kaycock. Gibson right there, number 24, Buford. Definitely one of those players. As I mentioned, I talked about the blue-collar label earlier as far as how he's out there for, to rebound, play defense, use his size and strength out there. And like you mentioned, that getting under the skin chip also in him there. As one of the players that we'll have in our third game today, Cameron Calhoun here is another prime example, one of those type of players. Just always seems to get under the opponent's skin.
Marcus, last year I had a chance to go to the Hoop Hall Classic up in Springfield, Massachusetts to watch Whitney Young and Jalil Okafor, and you'll see a charge right here on Buford. Whitney Young was matched up in a game versus Oak Hill Academy. Oak Hill Academy had this kid named Rokas Gutas.
Oh, yeah.
I think you're familiar with him. Did he end up signing with Rhode Island? Is that right?
I'm not sure.
I'll check on that. But Gutas actually Gibson reminds me a lot of Gutas, in that kind of blue collar, get under your skin type of guy. And it actually got Okafor into foul trouble, just because Okafor was just, so frustrated. So you need one of those type of kids, on your roster every now and then.
That's a great point. I can remember on the NBA level, the job that Rodman would do on Karl Malone in those finals matchups between the Bulls and the Jazz. Short on the first free throw there. So a 12-point advantage for Buford, but you got to take advantage of the freebies when you get them. If you're the Raiders, splitting the pair of free throws there is Maduka. Trying to save it, but stepping out of bounds in doing so, there is Springer.
Well, again, you see the full court pressure here, Marcus, forcing the turnover. And even though this is still a double-digit lead, I think it's going to be important coming into the fourth quarter. You want Buford to exert some of this energy to give yourself a chance.
As you see again, Alex Jones getting in there, wreaking havoc, dumping it off to Gamble. Gamble doesn't finish this time, but it's because he's fouled, so that'll send him to the free throw line. Alex Jones continues to be a catalyst here for Alpharetta.
Yeah, he did a good job of refusing that high ball screen, crossed it over quick, right to left, and then did a good job of finding the open teammate down there on the block.
Should have stick with us after this game, as we'll have Greater Atlanta Christian taking on Peachtree Ridge in our game 2 of 3, and then the nightcap will be the host, North Gwinnett High School, taking on Lee County here out of Georgia.
Good decision here. This is exactly what I'm talking about by Buford. Not trying to force the play after the press. And you see what happens here, Marcus. They get a ball reversal and then a cut down the lane, and Mills is able to finish it.
Nice finish there by Taylor Mills, who had 11 first half points. Finished that one through some contact. Advantage is now 11 for the Wolves. Jones with it up top. Jones directing traffic, guarded by Mills.
Yeah, illegal screen, never got set.
Easy call to make there against Henderson. So we've got 1 minute 54 seconds left to play here in this third quarter. Brandon Iverson with the ball. Loses his footing, but right there to pick up the pieces is Gibson.
It was a cover down block out, Marcus. The help came, but the opposite defenders have got to get in there on that glass. Gibson was right there to clean it all up.
Jones has it, nearly has it stolen away, but he's able to pick up the pieces, still in a little bit of trouble. And we're going to have a timeout call. So we'll take that timeout with them. We appreciate you joining us here on SUVtv for this presentation of the Jared Cook Classic. And we are back to the action. There you see a quick bucket after that timeout by Gamble of Alpharetta.
Again, Marcus, it's been the full court pressure by Alpharetta that has really changed the momentum of this game. And even though Devontae Kaycock has gone to the bench with his fourth foul, the rest of his teammates have done a good job of keeping the pressure up, and Gamble has been just huge.
As it goes out of bounds, Lamont Smith touched it last, so it'll go back over to Alpharetta. They trail by 11 as we approach the final minute here in the third quarter. Jones, tough shot right there, has it partially blocked, gonna have it tied up. Jump ball is going to keep it with Alpharetta. It looked like Jones was trying to set up that fall away mid-range J. Got caught up. Meanwhile, Gamble, weight room move on the inside.
And a good baseline out of bounds play there, and a good screen. I think it was set by Jones on the interior that freed up Gamble.
Devin Neal will bring it out up top. Neal trying to save it. Right there, right place, right time is Gibson. If we comb back through this footage, I think you'll be hard-pressed to find a play where Gibson is not constantly moving. He doesn't take a play off.
No, he doesn't, on either end for that matter. And he's just you can't overstate it, just the ultimate glue kid, you know, for Coach Whitehart. He's going to give you those plays that sometimes don't show up in the stat sheet, but you know, even with the stats, he's going to get 7, 8 rebounds, even 3 or 4 assists. Look at him right here.
As he nearly rebounded his own free throw. Couldn't hold on to it. But that play just indicative of the kind of hustle that Gibson brings to the table here for Buford. So 20 seconds left to play here in the third quarter, 48-57 in favor of Buford. Jones gets it over to Maduka. Maduka gonna try a three-pointer. In and out, no good. Gibson with the rebound. Here's Smith. Good if it goes. Count it. as that makes it 48-60.
That was by Brandon Iverson, Marcus. Iverson, key spark plug here in this third quarter. You see him right here on the CoachHemi.com instant replay. Spotting up out of the corner. Evades the block shot right there at the buzzer. Big shot by Iverson.
Boy, not a whole lot of time to get that off, but he does so successfully. So again, thanks for joining us here on SUVtv. We'll take a short break, and when we get back, the fourth quarter here, Alpharetta versus Buford. Coming back out of that quarter break as we're ready to begin the final installment of this one. Fourth quarter, 12-point advantage for Buford. And for those that may not have been with us in the first half, just to give you a nutshell summary of what's gotten us to this point, it was Buford early on in the first half, as we see another three-pointer there by number 11, Iverson, starting the fourth quarter the same way he ended the third, but it was Buford up early and Alpharetta really weathering the storm and staying within striking distance of this game. As that shot's knocked down by number 40, Carlos Carriara.
Big shot there by coming in off the bench. Still with Devontae Kaycock on the bench with 4 fouls, Marcus. And I think if you're Coach Hunt, you're going to want to try to get this game to about 4 or 5 minutes before you bring him back in if you can.
As Maduka wheeling and dealing, he's fouled on the play. And, you know, when talking with both coaches pregame, Coach Whitehart talked about in the come-from-behind win against Walton on day one of the Jericho Classic, how he was really able to see some of his players like freshman Lamont Smith and other pieces really answer the bell as far as what was needed. And it's ironic that Coach Hunt is in that same kind of situation in this game against Buford, as he's been able to see, you know, players like a Carriara come off and hit that three, able to see Jones do what he's done, out Gamble, and they've done that without one of their main pieces in Kaycock, like you've alluded to.
Yeah, great point. But I tell you what's going to catch up to them if they don't straighten this out. These missed free throws. I mean, you can't come back from double digits and continue to miss free throws like that. But nevertheless, 12-point game, and Coach Whitehart's going to get a timeout real quick to talk about it. Marcus, Trey Hansborough's been on the bench for the better part of the past 3 or 4 minutes. I don't know if that's foul trouble or if Coach Whitehart's going with the hotter hand of Iverson.
Yeah, not sure either, but he's back in the game now. So we'll see what results in that substitution with Hansborough coming back in. But yeah, that's an interesting point as far as what might have led to him being on the bench for that long, or could just be a breather to where they know for these next 6 minutes and 59 seconds, him coming out of the game isn't going to be an option.
Yeah, the dribble drive formation once again. And just too tough.
Hansborough makes it pushes it back to a 14-point advantage, but coming right back is Alpharetta. Deficit back down to 12 points.
Good pitch ahead there by Jones to get it to Thomas. Nice transition offense. Springer's got to shoot that. He's a shooter. You get up in the air, just go ahead and shoot it. Gibson wasn't looking for it.
Way too unselfish there, and most of the time, you know, Gibson, he can finish, but Gibson was looking to crash. He's like,
right.
I got my shooter with a nice mid-range jumper. I'm ready to crash in a rare event that he misses. As that ball goes off of his back, Alpharetta has it now. Maduka trying to make a move. He gets the bounce.
Now, we've been saying his name a little bit more often here, Marcus. had a big second half. 3-on-1 break here.
And Maduka going to be called for the foul there. Checking back into the game for Alpharetta, number 20, Roy Winston, as well as number 12, Devontae Kaycock.
And again, you see what the dribble drive offense is, Marcus. You're putting 3 people on the other side of the court with the post player on the block, and then you've got the shooter in the right corner. And that just leaves the defender like Maduka on an island. You know, if you go one way or another, he's going to get right around you, and then it sets up help opportunities. And Hansboro's not really the type of guy that you want to just sag off of and dare him to shoot the 3 because he can shoot it.
Yeah. As his 2 free throws make it 67-55, 5 minutes, 39 seconds and counting left to play here in this one. Carriara, again, another 3-pointer.
Nice offensive set there by Coach Hunt. UCLA screen on the strong side, swings it over to the open shooter. And Carlos, they're showing his specialty of being able to hit that spot up 3.
Definitely shooting it with some confidence here in this one. So that's going to be the 8th-team foul. So 1-1. Both teams in the penalty situation here. So it'll be free throws from here on out.
Well, you never like to foul, and you certainly don't want to foul this guy. But if there is a positive with the tempo being as such, sometimes these foul opportunities give your guys an opportunity to catch their breath and gear up for the next possession. But I tell you, I don't think that you want to be in the double bonus, at the 4-minute mark either.
Not at all. This Buford has done a decent job from the free throw down for him. Maduka on there needs a lifeline. He'll get it out to Carriara. Kaycock looking to make it happen.
Spinning body finishes right on left. That was a tough angle too.
Big shot there by the UNC Wilmington commit. Makes it 60-69. Mills with the bounce pass. Kaycock still able to get a hand on it. That's nothing but pure wingspan right there.
Great energy right there by Alpharetta. Great second chance, second effort to be able to come away with that steal and then draw the foul. And then kind of the icing on the cake, if you will, going to the free throw line, getting fouled, and again, getting the opportunity to score points with the clock stopped.
And they've got 6'7", Jalen Gamble checking back into the game also. They picked up a foul, so he's actually got a couple minutes of rest there also for this final stretch.
And you're right. I think that's one of the things that maybe the average fan doesn't always realize is that when you press so much, exerting that type of energy both directions, you're going to need a quick blow every now and then. And you're going to have to go 8, 9, maybe even 10 deep into your bench if you're going to play a whole half like this at this tempo.
As Alpharetta pulls to within 7. This is the closest they've been since the first half. They get it ahead to Gibson. Gibson challenged by Kaycock, and they're going to call a foul on the play.
Yeah, I believe that's his 5th.
Going to be Kaycock's 5th foul.
Unfortunate situation there for Devontae. He's going up to challenge that. Certainly didn't want to give up an easy bucket, but I think he got him with the body. I think that's where the referee saw the foul there.
And that's tough right there because if you're Kaycock, obviously he's going strictly off of instinct.
Yes.
He's not really thinking, okay, I've got 5 fouls. It's going to be tough, and just a tough situation right there, like you mentioned.
Yeah, you know, if he were to do it again, maybe you just, you know, let him go ahead and score that bucket so he can play it on. But that's not really how you're thinking in the heat of the moment either.
Yeah.
Good denial defense here by Buford. Again, you see Gibson getting out there, Mills getting out there, denying that reversal pass.
Here's Gamble. Trying to get out of the way before he committed the foul there was Brandon Iverson. But
yeah, good call there by the official. Same type of thing. Didn't get him on the arm, but got him with the body right there, so you got to call it. It'll be really interesting to see if Alpharetta in these last 4 minutes, not only can they continue to stay within striking distance, but are they going to have the offensive firepower to be able to win this game coming down the stretch?
If they are to be able to do that, Gamble is going to be a key piece of that. He can't get the free throws to go there as they still trail by 9. Hansborough goes behind the back, and Gamble's right there to take it the other way. Ball on the floor. I believe that's a jump ball call, so it's going to stay with Alpharetta. I believe the timeout situation. I don't think Alpharetta has a timeout left here.
I think Jones took his last one, and that scrum back during the third quarter.
Winston off the window, no good. Maduka fighting in there. No good on the shot attempt, but he'll go to the free throw line and shoot 2.
If you want to win games like this, if you want to make comeback, get comeback wins, so to speak, you've got to get second chance opportunities. You've got to make free throws. It's a pretty simple game. Now, obviously, you're going to have to make some big shots, maybe a three-pointer every now and then. You're going to have to force the turnover. But you have to take advantage of these opportunities when they're given to you.
Second free throw off the rim.
I believe that's 4 straight misses for Alpharetta.
Correct. Able to pick up the pieces and try to right that wrong there. At least for that trip to the free throw line is Aaron Thomas. They pull it to within 7. Hansborough ahead to Springer. Springer might have gotten away with the travel there.
Good decision right here by Buford. Once again, break the pressure, but don't do anything hasty.
Hansborough has the ball in his hands, gets it over to Mills. Hansborough looking to milk a little bit of clock here. And that's where being in the penalty, you know, they were in the penalty with 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Now it's 2:55, and, you know, they run off 30 seconds, and now they get a chance to go to the free throw line.
And that's going to be the 5th foul there on number 20, Roy Winston. Winston has been a big part of this comeback for sure with his defense and his intensity, but too many fouls are going to send him to the bench. You know, excuse me, Marcus, there's this fine line right here between, you know, being overly aggressive and taking quick shots versus trying to take the air out of the ball. You know, I think if you're Buford, I don't know if you necessarily want to try to run 3 minutes straight, you know, off of it. But at the same time, with Alpharetta's pressure, it's not as if you want to come down, make one pass, and jack up at 3. So there's going to be an interesting balance here in the next minute to 2 minutes to see if they can find that to secure this win.
It's a 9-point lead. Maduka gets it over to Jones. Back to Maduka. He's going to try the 3. And he gets this one to stay down. He's had a couple roll around that wouldn't go for him. That one's good to go. They pull it to within 6. Coast to coast, Hansborough.
Now, that's one thing you can't allow him to do is just go coast to coast for sure.
Tough shot there, the step back. Thomas with another offensive rebound. but he's going to get called for the travel.
Yeah, you've noticed here in the second half, Jones has really been limited in his effectiveness. He's used that high ball screen, but he's been forced. Buford has done a good job of keeping him out of the lane and forcing him to take that contested mid-range pull-up. When he was more successful in the first half, he was getting to that third level, you know, forcing that front line player to come over so he could create some offense. I'm sure if he looks at this tape, he'll definitely see the second half. He was relying a little too much on that jumper.
Yeah. We want to take some time to represent and recognize some of our sponsors here at the Jared Cook Classic. Well, first off, we're going to go ahead and look back at the nice move by Devontae Kaycock prior to fouling out, trying to spark his team there with a difficult finish. Unfortunately, Alpharetta will have to finish this job without his services for the rest of the game. Crossover, the official analytics provider of the SUV coaches. Let them break down the game film for you, save you a lot of time in the process. Gwinnett Daily Post, as well as Gwinnett Prep Sports, the local high school sports arm of the GDP, and last but not least, CBA Sports, the sports construction specialist of the SUV. So we're back to the action. Alpharetta trails by 8, 2 minutes and 15 seconds left to try to close the gap. Hansborough trying to get it ahead to Gibson.
Alpharetta does a good job there of forcing the hasty decision there by Hansborough. Rare mistake by him. 8-point lead here coming into the last 2 minutes of this game.
Carriara has it. He's got a good stroke from three-point land. Off the mark on that one. Here's Iverson. So Buford gets it across the timeline. You look for them to probably, going to say we're going to look to take a good 30 seconds off of the clock with each possession like they've done the past few sequences.
I don't think Alpharetta's in a position to let them be able to do that, and they foul pretty quickly. And Coach Whitehart over here still coaching his kids up, even though he's got a 9-point lead. You know, that mentality of the coaches of, you know, perfection. You want everything run right, and you're not going to be satisfied until it's done right, because you know that if you don't do it right, it's going to come back to bite you eventually.
Gibson comes up with that one. Now it's in the hands of Hansborough. Looks like Alpharetta is trying to foul. And that 10-second violation is called.
Yeah, good defense. Give credit to Alpharetta there by pressuring the backcourt right there. I think Hansborough was expecting the foul, and that's probably one of the reasons why he didn't pass.
Jones gets it to Gamble. Gamble going to try the three-pointer. He's off the mark on it. Another offensive rebound for Thomas. Carriara can't get it to go. Thomas has got at least 5 offensive rebounds here in the second half. Tough call right there. Mills chose not to take the layup, but then ends up turning the ball over.
Whoa.
Nice take there.
Well, it changes the complexity there. I mean, I can't fault Mills on the decision. However, he does turn it over right there, and there might have been a little bit of contact. And again, you know, if he goes in there and gets a shot blocked or something like that, we could be saying the same thing. So.
As Maduka makes the free throw, he gets the three-point play the hard way.
And we got ourselves a ball game suddenly, Marcus. It's a 5-point game with 53 seconds left. 2-possession game in many ways. Buford's going to have to make some plays in order to win this game.
Trapped in the corner there. Mills steps out of bounds.
And remember, Marcus, Alpharetta is doing this with their best player fouled out. Devontae Kaycock has spent the better part of this fourth quarter on the bench fouled out. So give a lot of credit to the entire Alpharetta roster for playing hard to the end.
Carriara beyond NBA range, just off the back of the rim. Nice rebound by Gamble. He'll put it up. Count it. It's a 2-point ball game. Just under 40 seconds. Hansborough has it. Tough place to commit a foul right there. They had to waste at least 5 or 6 seconds off right there. And they foul him literally under their basket with couldn't have been more than 3 or 4 seconds left on the 10 count.
Oh, goodness. 90 feet away from the opposing basket, not to mention 40 feet or 45 feet away from a 10-second call. But, well, the way this game is going, you know, it's who knows what's going to happen. It's shaping up to be a crazy finish, Marcus.
Yeah, that it is. Trey Hansborough will go to the free throw line. He's been solid from the line all day. Misses the first.
And this is the big one right here. This will make it a 3-point game if he makes it. Still plenty of time, though. You don't have to shoot a 3 right away.
We'll see what the Raiders look to do. Jones has it in his hands. Kicks it to Gamble. Gamble between the legs, step back. Nice defense by Patel. Foul going to be called on the floor.
I don't like that foul there by Buford. I mean, it's one thing to foul if, you know, before he takes a 3-point jumper, but he was driving to the lane. Just go ahead and give him the lay-in right there because, you know, at worst, he scores 2 points, but the clock keeps on running. You get it to about 10 seconds. Now you give him a chance to score 2 with the clock stopped.
And he gets the bounce on the first free throw.
And one of the Achilles heels of Buford here in this second half has been their press offense. They have not consistently been able to break the pressure of Alpharetta. Let's see what happens after this.
As the Raiders pull it within 1. Stuck in the corner again for some reason. The Buford Wolves cannot leave that corner over there alone the past few possessions.
Alpharetta has done a great job of forcing that entry pass to the sideline. The sideline and the corner, because what you now have is 2 extra defenders right there, and they've done a good job of choking down and trying to take away that reversal pass. And they're going to be inbounding at a tough spot too. I think they might be inbounding on the sideline over here, which gives them even more, I should say, less angles to be able to inbound it.
And let's go back to the CoachHemi.com instant replay cam as you see the turnover on one end by Mills. This has been the story of the past 5 minutes. A Buford turnover, not taking care of the ball, and a clutch play to score when they needed for Alpharetta, as we saw Maduka with the and one there on that last one.
Great left-handed finish by Maduka. Maduka been a big part of this Alpharetta comeback here in this fourth quarter. 78-77. Who would have ever thought, Marcus, in that second quarter when it was nearly a 20-point game, that it was going to come right down to the wire here?
I'll be honest, I didn't think it would. I hope that it would, because like we say, we want to be able to see a good game to where not only the players can be showcased and teams can get better, but it's close to where you can learn about your team. And I think both coaches have had that opportunity to do that in this game. Unfortunately for one of them, only one team can go away with the W. We'll see who will do it.
Oh, no.
That pass is thrown away. Here's Jones. Bucket. And Alpharetta has taken the lead.
Oh, no. The last thing that you want right there if you're Alpharetta is to foul. You get the turnover, big lay-in by the freshman Jones. And, oh, goodness. You've had the press on this entire time, so it's silly to think that you can just move your kids back to half court, but You can't foul right there.
Hansborough misses the first free throw.
No timeouts by Alpharetta, by the way. They'll have to, if he makes this, they'll have to inbound it and go the length of the court.
That one's in and out, but Gibson with the rebound, no good. Patel is able to score it.
Wow, what a finish. Hansborough misses both free throws, and then it's 2 offensive rebounds by Buford. What a heartbreaker for Alpharetta. Boy, they did everything that they could to win that game. Goodness gracious.
Boy, a tough loss right there as we look back at that final play, Hemi. You got the miss there by Hansborough. As the Alpharetta crowd is celebrating, they think they've got a victory, but unfortunately for them, Patel has other plans as Buford comes and steals one away from the Alpharetta Raiders. We appreciate you joining us here on SUVtv. I'm Marcus Burnett. He's J.L. Hemingway. Stay tuned with us for more Jericho Classic action here on SUVtv.